القيوم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. Welcome to the Muslim Chronicles on Rosie's Corner. Unfortunately, our brother who will be joining us today is actually not here yet. We will give him a couple of minutes. But in the meantime, I'll give you guys like a little quick update on Rosie's Corner and everything that's been going on. So as you guys probably know, or if you guys remember, I had mentioned a couple of, I think it was like a week or two back, maybe a little while ago. But my job had basically taken me from 50 hours to 10 hours. And I was stressing for the longest time, but alhamdulillah, we just got a new job yesterday. So inshallah, it goes well. It's my first day today. But that will come, later on today. Show the dog. He's actually in his room. When I have lives, I typically put him in there just because if not, he'll be barking. And we're still working on the training, but the training so far is going really good. I will say that. So yeah. In the meantime, while we wait for Brother Mikhail, if you guys want to send any questions that you guys have, feel free to do so. Right now, we actually have some competition, guys. So I noticed that maybe I shouldn't even be mentioning this. I'm promoting it. No, I'm kidding. But no, I saw that the Muslim Mom is also live, and I saw that Hamza's Den is live as well. So we got some competition. But inshallah, this all goes well, and I hope it goes well for their live as well. Okay, a question here. What is the I Know Him website? So this website is, I don't know if you guys remember, I had on my channel The Saint and the Sinner, or Brother Marquette. So he is working on this website. So this is actually, I believe, his website. But yeah, so right now I believe is in the testing. I don't know, in this testing portion of it. But it's basically for influencers to have a way to contact or have a way to communicate, and for the fans to communicate with them as well. So I am, supporting, and I encourage you guys to support as well. Not sure if you want to share, but what state you're from? I'm getting New York vibes, but I know I'm wrong. So I'm Dominican. So that's where you might be getting, because there's so many Dominicans in New York. I think that might be like what, you're getting. But I am actually in Texas, but I'm Dominican. Anyways, now our brother Mikhail is here. And yeah, let's get started. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So good to see you, Rosie. I'm glad. And I want to say, first of all, it's an honor to be on your channel, to be only your second live stream. And thank you so much for inviting me. Truly, it's an honor.
Of course. It's a pleasure having you here.
Been?
Pretty good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. Everything's really, when you're following the Quran, you're following the Hadith as best as we can. I like to say all the time that, my worst day as a Muslim is infinitely times better than my best day as a non-Muslim. And
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So
See, you got your coffee. I'm ready to.
Oh, always. I mean, I normally don't drink Dunkin'. I used to when I was younger, but I like to make my own.
Yeah, I see. So I'm like a coffee fanatic. I'm
I
gonna
am
say
too.
fanatic. I didn't want
I
to say
am too.
addict, but it's one and the same. But yeah, I always buy like the Starbucks coffee.
Yeah,
But
it's
I
not
found
bad.
it's so expensive though. So now I just buy it. There's like these huge like things that they have of coffee that's like $5 when you buy like a little cup for $5. I'm like, might as well just buy that.
I never knew that, honestly. Like when I go to Starbucks, I buy the same thing every time, and it's literally like for a coffee this size, it costs me like $7.80. It's like
Yep.
I could have got this, or I could have got a large one of these. I probably could have got a bagel with cream cheese and like a half dozen donuts. I'm exaggerating, but
No, I get it. I get it.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Brandon.
Brandon.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. This is your channel. I'm stepping
No,
up.
you're good. You're good. You're good. So
by the way,
what was that?
I was gonna say, by the way, I did catch your first stream with Sister Navira and the Muslim Mom, and it was really amazing. It's always nice to hear from a perspective that of course I've done a live stream with every one of you, but it's always nice to hear a perspective that I'm not used to hearing, right? I mean, men and women are different. I just want to establish that right now. And it's very clear, right? So for you guys, you face, especially as reverts, or you were the only revert out of the three, but in general, right? It's different for you in Islam as it is for a man in Islam. So it was really interesting and insightful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe we're going to be doing maybe I don't know if I'm supposed to, well, I guess this is me announcing it to everybody. We're doing part 2. I believe it will be on Sister Navira's channel. So I know mine was only, somebody actually mentioned it. Yeah, it was only 59 minutes long. So yes, it was
good.
It was 59 minutes long, but guys, there's a continuation and there's probably going to be a part 3 on the Muslim Moms channel, inshallah.
I was gonna say you guys should inshallah. I was gonna say you guys should definitely do like I don't know, you know who the 3 Muslims are, right? You know their channel, correct?
Yeah.
Very good, very intelligent brothers too, very insightful. I was gonna say something to you about that. I think that would be so cool. Like you guys don't have to make a separate channel for it, but you guys could do like a series sort of thing, like if not once a week, once every 2 weeks, and you guys just kind of, I don't know, I like it. I think it's a good idea. You guys really vibed well together. It was like infectious, the energy you guys all gave off.
Yeah, I don't know, with them, I feel like usually the conversation just can like keep going. So
Mashallah.
The Muslim Trinity.
Astaghfirullah. That's what people said to Brother Ibrahim, Tortoise King, and I when we did it. It was us 3. That's so funny. Everybody wants to throw that out there every time.
That's so funny. And actually, speaking of series, I'm actually thinking it's in the works right now. I'm going to be doing a health series, a mental health series. I have a doctor. She's a Muslim sister who specializes in mental health. So inshallah, that will be happening soon.
Hold up. You have the same one as me? You went and got it?
Listen, I got the other one too.
Hold on. So the last time that we talked, you actually went and got him. Alhamdulillah. Hold on. Let me grab mine. Mine's right here. I want to grab mine.
Guys, I am like in love with this Quran. So it has the Arabic, it has the English, and then it has the transliteration. So it tells you exactly how to pronounce the Arabic. I'm like obsessed with it. Oh, I think he wants to get his. This Quran. We're matching Qurans. Quran collection, but listen, don't start with me because I also have this one, right? And then I also have that one, but in Spanish. So yeah, and then I have another one that's in Spanish, but I don't have it over here. It's over there. I won't leave you guys alone. But he's gone. But yes, guys, we are going to be doing a live. Well, we're going to be doing a series in the meantime while he gets back. But we're going to be doing a series on mental health. I'm going to be working with Dr. Hannah. She will be writing an article, inshallah, this week on my website, which you guys can check out. And then we're going to be doing a live, and we'll go on from there doing a series. Oh, he brought them all out.
I had to jump in. I couldn't find it. I'm like, oh no. And then it was literally in my car because when I go to the masjid, I always bring, for Fajr every morning, I always bring these two with me. And when I'm in the masjid after Salatul Fajr, as long as I have time to do so, I'm sure, I don't know if I talked about this the last time we were on a live stream, but there is I don't know how you would call it. It's a sunnah prayer, but it's literally the reward of praying this is the reward of Hajj plus Umrah. So what it is after Salatul Fajr, you pray in congregation, then you stay seated in the same spot that you prayed in, okay? You don't move until it's called Salatul Ishraq, until the sun rises, okay? And then you wait 10 to 15 minutes and you pray 2 rak'ah, all right? And then same thing, and it's literally, it's worth the reward of Hajj plus Umrah. So it's worth so much.
Wow.
Yeah, and when I start my day off like that, it's like the best feeling. But I'm so happy to see that you got these. This is
Listen, I am like in love with that Quran. In love with it. Yes.
How many surahs have you memorized yet? Are you still working?
No, there's a lot to memorize. But I've already gotten to the point where I am able to do my prayers without YouTube. Like I don't need to hear anything. I'm actually able to do it on my own now. And honestly, the first time I was able to do it, I honestly cried. Like I started falling. Yes, I was just like, oh my goodness.
Feeling. It really is. I'm proud of you. That's amazing.
Yeah, I even called my mom and I was like, Mom, I'm actually able to do my prayers. And I'm like doing my prayers with her. Like I'm saying it in Arabic. Yeah.
Did she revert with you?
No. But
okay, I got you.
Inshallah, one day.
When you said you prayed with her, I was like, wait, what I miss?
No, I'll literally be on the phone and I'll say it to her, like in Arabic, just so she can hear it. Yeah. She hears me say Alhamdulillah Allah. And now she's gotten to the point where she says it, she doesn't say it correctly. Mashallah. But she says it. She goes, Alhamdulillah. I'm like, Alhamdulillah, yes, Mom. That's
so adorable. So she's actually, honestly, that warms my heart to hear that your mother's like that with you. Like my mother, my family, although that they are happy that I am happy, they do not if I say any Islamic talk in front of them, they literally give me the death stare and they get so mad at me. I'm like, listen, I talk like this 24/7. I'm around my Muslim brothers all the time. And when I'm not at the masjid or at work, I'm here and I'm with more brothers and sisters. So I just try to respect their space. And inshallah ta'ala, they will come around.
Of course. Inshallah. Well, since we got into the topic of family, I'll ask you, I'll start there then. Well, first of all, tell us a little bit of background. I'm sure a lot of the people know you, of course. But tell us a little bit about yourself, just in case we have some newcomers.
Yes.
And yeah, tell us also, include in there about your family. Are you like the only Muslim in your family, and how did they take it?
Oh, I'll dive into it. Okay, so let me get in my mode. All right. By the way, do you have any of these yet? I think I asked you last time. The miswax. It's miswak or suwac. It is a root from the the name of the plant is like the generic name or the scientific name is Salvadora persica. Okay, and what it is, these are the roots from the tree, right? And this was the first ever toothbrush back like in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's time. All right, so when it comes, right, like when I get them, this is a package of them. I have a friend, because for some reason in the UK they have like way better stuff, and it's easier to buy stuff for me from there than to buy stuff from Saudi and get it shipped. So they come like this, right? I can send you some. I have so many boxes of this.
So what is it for?
So, like I said, it's the first ever toothbrush that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yeah, and it comes like this, right? So if you look at the tip, right, at first it's just bark like this, and then you chew it off. Like, look, it's literally like a toothbrush. Like you could probably paint with this.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I chew on it all the time. It also helped me, it helped me stop my smoking. And, I smoked cigars. I'd smoke a cigarette once in a while, but this has helped major. Alhamdulillah.
Oh, I'm gonna need the name of those.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's sunnah too. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I believe. Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I remember my sheikh saying when he first gave me it, the first one I ever had, I believe he said that it like Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would clean his teeth with it in the morning. He would clean his teeth before every prayer with it, but he would also he'd have it on him all the time, and he'd just kind of chew on it. Like you see me doing in most of my videos, like it's a cigar.
You know what's crazy? My friend, when I was making the thumbnail for this video, she goes, "Is that a blunt?"
Yes. That's not the first time I've heard that. That's serious. I get that, honestly, more times than you would even believe. So, all right. To everybody who doesn't know me, my name is David Ortiz. I used to play designated hitter for the Boston Red Sox. I won the World Series for the Boston Red Sox in 2004 and 2007. The only difference, obviously, is that David Ortiz is white and I'm Dominican. But yeah, that's fine. No, I'm just joking. My name is Brother Mikhail. I am a Muslim, a new Muslim. I reverted to Islam a little over 7 months ago. As I said, my heritage is Italian. I say Italian American. It's just easier than me saying, yes, I'm 75% Italian, and then the last 25% is a mix of Irish and Scottish. So Italian American. I was raised in Boston, Massachusetts, Dorchester to be exact, and I grew up in a very rough area. Dorchester is one of the roughest neighborhoods in New England. And anyways, I was raised like most Italians, most Irish are. I was raised in a Catholic household. I was raised in Catholicism, put in the Sunday school, and from an early age. And, from early on, what's that? Oh, I thought you said something.
Nope. Listening. Go ahead.
Yeah. Early on, the 3-in-1, the Trinity thing, it never made sense with me. Even though I was Catholic, it never resonated with me. I mean, even as a child, when I'm like 5, 6 years old and they're telling me this, my mom says it like now. She said, you never would accept the fact that, 3 could be 1. I used to, she said I used to get in trouble from the bishop or the priest when you would go up and say this to him 5, 6 years old and say, nobody can be 3-1. This is you guys are idiots. Like I was a kid saying this, right?
Wow.
So I just found this out actually recently. My mother just told me that story. So anyways, from age 8 until 12 years old, I was, at that point, they're getting you ready for your first communion if you're Catholic. And you start what I was put through was an intense Bible study. And I'm trying to remember what was the Bible that we were reading at that time. I believe, yes, they started us with the Old Testament, okay, the English translation of the Old Testament. And then we would kind of go back and forth between that and the New Testament. Now, even because I was so interested in this, I just, from a young age, I just wanted to know, I wanted to know the truth. I wanted to know how in the hell we all came here. Astaghfirullah. I don't know if I can say that word, but I have to. I don't. But anyways, I just wanted to know. I sought the truth, and I wanted answers. So I said, people are telling me this is where the answers are. I'm gonna read it. So I read the Old Testament, right? And as I'm reading it, I start to see contradictions already. Mind you, I'm 8 years old, okay? And let me just state this very clearly to everybody listening. I'm not some child prodigy. I'm not I'm sure I'm intelligent, but I'm not by any means some child prodigy who, studied the Bibles in and out and can recite them verse for verse right now. But from what I did study, what I did read, when I read, the Old Testament, like I said, I noticed contradictions in there. And then when I moved from that to the New Testament, I noticed, like everybody else knows, right, things that were added, things that were removed from it for whatever reasons. They did it to fit their agenda at that time, to fit as you see today with all these priests that are part of the alphabet soup community, the LGHTTV. It's obviously that is one of the biggest cardinal sins, if not the biggest cardinal sin in all of the Abrahamic faiths, right? In Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And I remember 7 years ago, of course, this is later on, but 7 years ago when they had it was all over the news, social media and everything. And this Christian minister, he was, he was, right? I'm just, yes, he was part of the Rainbow Mafia. So, for that, to me, I'm just in my head, I'm like, okay, now this is exactly why I walked away from Christianity and Catholicism when I was 12 years old, because of the fact that it says one thing in the book, and then you have the man, if you're in a minister or a priest position or an imam's position or a rabbi's position, you are literally the label or the basically one of the biggest symbols that a person can be. What's that?
I said you're like the face of
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. You're like the face of the religion. So you're speaking this in your book, yet you are the exact opposite. You're exactly what the book tells you not to do. And I'm listening to this and I'm like, oh man, this is exactly what was going on when I was younger and I read the books and I saw that things were changing to fit the agenda, just like from the New Testament to the King James Bible. Because for some reason, people who claim Christianity, that I forget. You told me what you were. I don't remember. What's that?
Seventh-day Adventist.
Seventh-day Adventist. Yes. This is Christianity, right? Yes.
Yeah, it's like a mix in there. Yeah.
Okay. So was the Bible you guys used the KJV?
Well, so for me, I mostly went to Hispanic churches. So for us, it was Reina Valera, which is honestly basically like the King James version. Yeah.
Okay. So then you'll probably understand this. You definitely will. So then, you know, after reading this, and I'll get into the KJB in a minute, right? Then one of the kids that I'm very close friends with in school, he is, you know, I asked him, I was like, yo, everybody else in class, like our whole entire classroom was Catholic except for like, I think there were like only 3 or 4 kids out of like 20 something kids that were, you know, one was Jewish, 2 were Muslim, and then 1 was Christian. Everybody else was Catholic. And my friend who was Christian, I asked him, I was like, you know, I'm just seeing these different Bibles and stuff like this. And I know that, you know, the kid, I don't want to say his name, the Jewish kid, they use a different book, scripture, obviously. Some people think the Torah is the Old Testament, but it's actually different. The Old Testament was taken from the Torah, the first 5 chapters of it. Yes. I honestly didn't know that until very recently.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, somebody corrected me on it, and I felt like an idiot. So I asked him, and he told me, you know, that they use the KJB. So I said, do you have an extra copy? Or he said, no, but you can borrow mine, right? He's like, I don't read it. I just, it sits at home on the desk. So I was like, all right, you know, pretty much what I know at that time, that's what I always saw of Christianity or, you know, Catholicism, that all of the people I knew, they may have a Bible, but it would be buried in the closet in the corner that they haven't seen in 30 some years, right?
Yep.
So I read the KJB now. Same thing. I see complete differences from one to the next, stuff that was removed, stuff that was taken from it, forgeries, all sorts of stuff, right? And the big thing that I really noticed, that I learned when I researched, right, was the fact that I'm sure you know who King James. Do you know who King James was? Obviously, he was a king, but
Yeah.
he was originally, right, because I only knew him as the King of England, but he was originally the King of Scotland. You know, I learned this back then when I did the research. He was originally the King of wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi, Sister Navira. So he was originally the King of Scotland, and he went on a conquest to conquer England to become the King of England. Now, when he basically took over England, it was split. 50% of them backed him. They were 100% liked the way he was ruling and everything like this. The other 50%, they were against him because they said that what he was doing went against Christianity, okay? So what does he do? He comes out with his own Bible that now has their beliefs from that Bible into his, and now everybody's la peaches and cream, right? So it just goes to show, and this continues to happen throughout history. Like I said, you're seeing it right now. And one of the biggest things for me, right, was the fact that you look at these books, okay, and not the Injil and not the original Injil and not the original Torah, okay? But the corrupted Torah now and the corrupted Bibles, I say Bibles because there's not one, there's thousands.
Over 2,000 of them. Yeah.
Exactly, right? Exactly. So, for instance, the Quran is the word of God. Those are the word of man. I'm sorry, but I'm going to listen to the one that has no flaws, that is one copy. It has not been changed throughout history, throughout, you know, years. What is it? 1,400 or is it more than that? 1,400 years? Might even be 1,500 at this point. My math's wrong right now. But like I said, the only one that hasn't been changed in years, you know, this is the word of God. I'm sorry. I'm not going to follow a man's word over our Creator's word. I mean, come on, let's use our brain that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us, right? So this is the last thing I'm going to say as far as my Catholic upbringing goes. And I brought all that up about the different Bibles and stuff like this because in Sunday school, when I was first, like when I was faced with all of these questions, right? When I faced with all of these forgeries, this fraudulence, the fallacies, everything, right? I questioned the bishop or the priest, whoever was running the Sunday school class at that time, and every single one of them would give me the same answer, and they would say, my name was Michael at that time. They say, Michael, you can't ask these questions, or we don't ask these questions. And I just kind of looked at him like, what do you mean we don't ask these questions? Like, isn't that what you want us to do? Like, I'm trying to learn here. I'm trying to understand. He said, no. We don't ask these questions. I was like, well, didn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, well, God at that time, right? Didn't God give us a brain, like I just said before, for a reason? Didn't he give us, the skills to analyze the situation, problem solving skills, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, so we can figure this stuff out, so we can work out the answers? He said, no. He said, you just have to have faith.
Oh, that was the phrase of like,
oh man, I literally, it irked me beyond belief. So, anyways, and the beautiful thing, right? And I know that you've came to find this out for yourself as well. It was the first night, the night that I reverted, and when I was sitting there with, the sheikh, one of my mentors, he had. We were talking. This is after I had reverted and recited the Shahada, and we talked for like an hour. And he said to me, please, you can, even in the beginning he said it, but the way he said it afterwards, he was like, please, you can ask any question you want. Feel free. That's what I'm here for. And every single question that you have, I guarantee you that the answer is either in the Quran or it's in the Hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I said, wait, what? I said, you will actually answer my questions when I ask them? I was like, yo,
I've never seen this before.
What world is this? Oh man. So that was like, it was so beautiful to me to finally see that, because I am a very analytical thinker, a problem solver. Like I do this all the time, right? And I love that about Islam, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Islam, in the deen of Islam, wants us to ask questions, wants us to learn, wants us to test ourselves and strengthen our deen. So alhamdulillah, Islam saved my life in every single way possible.
Alhamdulillah. Now, you said that you grew up in a rough area, right? And I waited to show this question because I felt like it kind of connected to this. But someone asked, a random off-topic question, not anymore. But Brother Mikhail, have you ever been a part of the mafia or anything? I asked because you joke around or mention mafia sometimes.
Yeah, no, and shout out to HK. HK is an avid viewer of my channel. He's been supporting me from the beginning, and wonderful brother. Thanks for the question, brother. So I know I had mentioned this on my channel. They had asked me this question before, and I said I would do it another time. I planned on doing a video for it, but right now is the time. I'll answer.
I was gonna say, now's what better time than the present?
Exactly. This is the right time to do it. This is your second stream. We're gonna make history here. So I myself was never in the mafia, so per se, but I know my some people on my mother's side of the family will be very mad at me for saying this, but they still try and hide the fact of what my grandfather did. And I mean, it's known all throughout New England, really. Anyways, the New England crime family, right? The mafia that was in New England, mainly the headquarters was between Boston and the north end of Boston, which is the Italian section of Boston, and then Federal Hill in Providence, Rhode Island. And in the beginning, right, I want to say, actually, I think in the beginning, before Raymond Patriarcha Raymond Ellis. So Raymond Ellis Patriarcha was and is the biggest known Godfather figure in New England mafia, okay, in New England mafia history. So I want to say this was back in like the 1930s. Him and my grandfather, whose name was Nunziato Aiconetti, they called them Buds, right? He's not Italian or anything. So anyways, them two were best friends. Like they were like basically brothers. They did everything together. And as Raymond L.S. Patriarcha, right? They were affiliates at first, and Raymond L.S., started to climb the ranks. My grandfather was right there. He was his right-hand man. He basically did all the hard work, if you know what I'm saying. He was the carpenter, so to speak. He was good with a hammer. I'll just say it that way. So anyways, he ended up doing a 19-year bid, and I trying to remember like the year time this was, but I believe it was the 40s at this point. And at this point, Raymond Ellis Patriarcha, and you can look up people who are mafia buffs, they know the name Raymond Patriarcha. Thank you, sister. Jazakallah khairan. So Raymond Ellis Patriarcha also had a son, Junior, but he did not hold down the position like his father. Raymond Ellis Patriarcha had, the entire New England like in the palm of his hand. So the New England crime family was the only mafia in all of the country that didn't kick up to New York. They were not part of the five families or anything. There was a mutual respect between them. They did some work together, but Raymond did not answer to anybody. So that's why he's very respected when it comes to the history of the mafia. And the fact my grandfather was his right-hand man, like when I was younger and growing up in the city and, like all men, it's all about being tough and competitive, and this, especially in the inner city, in a rough area in the inner city, I do like, even still, if I walk around, like, because people don't realize it. They think like the mafia doesn't exist anymore. It most definitely does. It just does in a different way. So I wouldn't say that I am mafia, but I have connections. I'll say it that way. So anyways, my grandfather, he did a 19-year bid because he was, they were doing this, a robbery at a brothel at that time, which this brothel, it wasn't really a robbery. It ended up turning into one, but the brothel was supposed to kick up to Raymond Patriarcha, like all the, I don't know, what do you call them? All the vices, right? Alcohol, drugs, gambling, sex, guns, all of this stuff. Okay. Especially back then, this was all illegal and the mafia controlled all of that, right? Racketeering, everything. Okay. So if you ran one of those businesses, you had to kick up to the mafia. Even sometimes they would take it from, legal businesses like, store owners and stuff like that. You've probably seen it in movies all the time. So this guy, he kept saying he was, and this is how I've heard the story. He kept saying he was going to pay. He just needed another month. And Raymond was an understandable guy to somewhat, but he was also ruthless. Like, if you didn't do what he said, there was no talking. It was, okay, you are going to get a lead headache and you're going to be sleeping with the fishes by the morning. So anyways, he sends my grandfather and he sends, just a small soldier with him. And they go. Now, my grandfather has hurt his leg, a few days prior. I forget what it was, but he had hurt his leg. So anyways, they're in there, they go there and he sees them. He immediately took off. Okay. So they said, screw it. They went into the place. They tore the whole place up. They took all the money that was in there. And my grandfather, like the way that I was explaining this, there was a hallway at the end where there were like the VIP rooms where people would go in there with, you get me? So at the very last room, like they were kicking in the doors, my grandfather and the soldier, they were kicking in the doors and taking the money or the gold or the jewelry, whatever the people had that was in there. And when my grandfather got to the last door, he opens up the door, and as soon as he walked in with the gun, he saw a state trooper badge on the dresser, right? So it was a statey. So rather than try and rob the statey, my grandfather just, boom, he booked it, right? And the soldier, obviously my grandfather said run. The soldier took off and like ahead of him. This is a young kid. Mind you, I told you my grandfather's leg got screwed up a few nights before. Anyways, the statey ends up catching up to him, beats him with the baton, ends up doing 19 years in jail, and he kept his mouth shut the whole time. Now, when my grandfather joined the mob, right, because when he got out, they told him, we will give you everything, right? We'll set you up with whatever you want. You'll be the consigliere, you'll be this, you'll have everything you ever needed, right? The mansion, everything. And he said, listen, Raymond, he said, I love you. You're my brother. When we started this thing of ours, right, La Cosa Nostra, when we started this, it was to protect the families, right, the Italian families in the Italian neighborhood and Federal Hill and in all the Italian areas, because the Italians, a lot of people don't know this, or they never, I don't know, a lot of people don't know the history of the Italians and the Irish. The Italians and the Irish were like some of the very first slaves in the country. They were persecuted terribly when they first came here. So in the Italian neighborhoods, there was still this, I don't know, the British or English or whoever, right? They would take advantage of the Italians. They would try and, I don't know the way that they did it. So the mafia was invented for that, to protect them. They weren't going to stand for it anymore. And my grandfather said, we started this thing of ours to protect the families and keep the families together. And when I went away, he said, halfway through my bid, you guys started selling narcotics. And narcotics was always a no-no from the beginning, because narcotics doesn't bring the families together. It breaks them apart. And my grandfather said, I'm done at this point. He said, if you can, I'll go on like the other side of Rhode Island and just give me a house. I'll get and help me get a wife in Italy. And that was basically it. And they set him up down there, and he was good. So that's pretty much the story of my grandfather.
But did you ever have like any, I not encounters, but like, yeah, like were you ever like personally like, involved in there?
So I was not like, I would not consider myself a mafia member. But yeah, I was most definitely a hustler. I didn't, I wasn't really big into the whole gun thing. I just, because of what happened to me when I was a kid. So I'll this is a big part of my story. So I'll state this. So and this is before I state this, right? And I'm going to try and make it quicker. The artist of me, I always give like the full details and everything, and I can make a short story longer because I do this. So I'm going to try and make it shorter for you, but I just want to state that because of these things that I've been through, and I'm sure the same for you, right? For reverts, that I noticed the reverts who really take Islam seriously, when they revert, they've been through something, like some serious hardship in their life, that they're like, I'm never going back to that. That the dunya is nothing but misery. When I hear these young kids, these young Muslims in the masjid who I'm very close with, who they ask me these questions, they're like, I hear them say this to me all the time. They're like, I feel like I'm missing out. Trust me, bro. You're not missing out on anything. You're really not. Like, I know it seems like the coolest thing to do because that's what the society has programmed everybody to think for so long now. And you see the other kids in your class, they're doing that. Trust me, it's not gonna lead you anywhere good, but misery. Like all that comes with that is misery in the end. Truly, that's it. So, yes, when I was 12 years old, this is the same year that I walked away from Catholicism, and this all has something to do with it. So first thing first, my parents were, split up when I was 5 years old. My parents got divorced when I was 5. And at that point, right, I didn't really get to see my dad so much. Not because he didn't want to see us, but the court order was that we were supposed to be seeing him every other weekend. So we would see him 2 weekends out of a month. So that's 4 days out of 30 days. My mom would have us the rest, right? Then after, I'd say, like the first 6 months, my mom pretty much took it into her own hands and said, only once every 1 weekend every 30 days, right? So I cannot see. Okay. I was like, where's the chat? Why can't I see anything? There's everything. All right. So, when this happened, because of this, I didn't have the father figure, the male role model in the house that, a young male needs, especially at that point in their life, right?
Any child, yeah.
Even a daughter needs her father, right? 100%. The children need both parents in the household. No matter what people want to say, children need both parents in the household. It's not easy, right? And especially through the kid's standpoint, most kids who go through a divorce, especially at a young age, or a separation, like myself, I know I did it terribly. I blamed it on myself. I thought, like, when my dad announced to us, he sat us all down on the couch, and my mom was standing like on the other side of the room, and listened to him. He told us, this is the end. He didn't say that. He said, your mom and I, we love each other, but we don't see eye to eye, so we're going to be going our separate ways. And I just want you guys to know that I love you, but I'm not going to be living here anymore. I'm going to have my own house, and you guys will see me you guys will still see me. So I ran, like, when it was really time for him to leave, and he went to give us all a hug goodbye. I ran, and I, like, mind you, I'm 5 years old, so I'm little. I'm like the size of his entire, like, calf, right? So I just latch onto his his leg with my legs wrapped around him and my arms, and I'm like, Dad, like, my dad tells the story, and he said, I broke down in tears when you did it, because I looked up at him, and I'm like this, and I'm just like literally in tears saying, please, Dad, please don't go. Whatever I did, I won't do it anymore. I'll behave. I won't misbehave anymore, right? And he said it broke his heart, because a kid can't understand that, right? The kids don't understand that. So people don't realize how, when divorce or separation happens in a family, setup, sure, it's tough. It's very tough on the husband and the wife, but it's the kids that really suffer the most, right? Yeah. So anyways, past that, right? From that point, my grandfather, my dad's dad, although he lived in a separate state, I spoke to him every single night. So did my brother and my sister as well. We spoke to him every single night, and I would have conversations with him for like 45 minutes to an hour, just me, talking about sports, school, how my grades are, everything, right? And he was my role model at that time. So when I was 12 years old, he passed. Okay. And now I'm like, all right, I have the role model that was like my everything is now gone, the male role model. So what did I look up to at that point? Like I said, I'm in the city. I'm in a rough neighborhood in the city. Inshallah. Jazakallahu khairan, brother. I'm in a rough part of the city, and who do I look up to? I see the hustlers that are outside with the brand new Mercedes Benz, the nicest Nikes and nicest Jordans, all the nice clothes, the girls, the jewelry, the money, everything, right? And they look happy. They look like they're loving life. So I'm like, all right. I said, that's like, that was what I set out to be, and that is exactly what I became. So I'm not done with the year. 12 years old was a tough year for me. I grew up. I went from 12 to 18 years old like that. From what happened with my grandfather to the next thing I'm going to say, and I'm trying to think of how long after this was. It's probably like I'd say for the next month anyway. For the next month, I didn't want to leave the house. I was devastated about my grandfather. Like I said, he was everything. He was my male role model. My little brother, I have a little brother who's 2 years younger than me, a year and a half. I'm the man of the house, so of course, my stepdad's there, but there's a reason why I don't really like my stepdad. Let's just say that the reason that my mom and my dad split up was because of him. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And I want to state very clearly, I love my mother more than anything. She is, I love her to pieces, but people make mistakes. That's all I can say. So anyways, because of this, I'm like, okay, I'm never looking up to that dude. That dude is not the man of the house. Although I'm 12 years old, I'm the man of the house. My little brother's going to look up to me. And I had that attitude from the moment my dad left. So I tried to lead my brother the best I knew how, the best I could. And when I'm just seeing that comment, Italian people love their mothers with respect. Yeah, no, it's in Italian culture, just like Muslim culture, Arabic culture, and Hispanic culture, family is everything. Family is absolutely everything. Family, religion, and food. That's it. Those are the three things. Am I right or am I right? So,
Yep.
absolutely. So at this point, right, like I said, I'm like camping out inside for the next month. My mom kept coming to me and saying, your friends are at the door. They want you to come outside. I was like, Mom, I'm not going anywhere, right? I was just stuck. Like I couldn't wrap my head around this. So eventually my best friend, who I grew up playing AAU basketball with, for those that don't know what AAU is like, the All-Stars, but 5-10 times better than that. You have to be, they take the best of the best. It's a travel team that travels from state to state to play the other best AAU teams. So my best friend and I, we were best friends since little because we grew up next to each other. We grew up playing basketball with each other, and we were on the same AAU team as well. So this best friend of mine, every day he would come by. He would stop in just to check on me and everything. And, he would hang out with me for a little bit in the house. But I was in my feelings. And he came over finally after like a month. And he's like, that's enough. He's like, you're not going to mope around anymore. He's like, get the outside, right? We're going outside. We're just going to hang out, right? So, absolutely. I go outside with him. Now, this is the first time that I got into puffing the Magic Dragon, smoking weed. And when I fell into this, it all started right. Matter of fact, it wasn't the first time. The first time I did was when I was 11 years old at the bus stop. I had tried it, and I tried it a few different times, and I was never big on it. I never liked it. Then, as my best friend takes me outside, we go out, we go to the city basketball courts, and we're just shooting hoops, we're just hanging out. And he's like, he could see me moping around. He's like, bro, one of our other friends was there, and he was rolling up a Philly. That's how long ago it was. People don't smoke Phillies anymore. Anyways, stuff for the law. You should be smoking in general, but anyways, that's what happened. I'm like, he's like, come here, smoke this. It'll make you feel better. And he was only trying to help, but of course we're kids. Like he was trying what he thought would help me. Anyways, I refused it at first, and then I took it, and I was like, you know what? As soon as I hit it, everything was better. Like I felt like all my stress was gone, and I was like, okay. That's when I first started to become, a pothead, really, a slufferola. And at that point, I was like, okay, well, my best friend, that same kid, he's been hustling, like he's been selling narcotics. He was a street pharmacist for quite some time already. He started at like 13 years old, maybe 12. And he had money. He always had money. And he would have, if I wanted to, he would have just, smoked me up every day. But I couldn't have allowed that to happen. I was like, I'm going to get it myself. So I decided, okay, I know how I can get my money for this. I can sell it myself. So that's what I did. In the beginning, it was just to smoke it. And then I realized, wow, I'm actually a pretty good salesman. So I upped my game. I went up and up. Anyways, at this point in time, I'd say it was a few months after this. Oh man, I'm sorry. I don't talk about it for a while. And then once I talk about it, it kind of just hits me like a wall. But anyways, at this time, he had already stepped up and he was selling hard. To those that don't know what hard is, do you know what it is? Okay, to those that don't know what hard is, it's crack cocaine. All right, soft is cocaine. Crack rock is obviously what you see.
I don't even know if we're supposed to be saying like all these different.
Nah, you can
on here. But in case we get kicked out, guys.
No, you can. I wouldn't have said it if I couldn't. I wouldn't have done that to you. Absolutely, I would. And
I was gonna get into the questions like once you were.
Okay. We'll get into the questions after then.
Just like that, we can keep it.
As you know, I have ADHD, so I can go.
I know that's why I have to keep it that way, because since I have ADHD too, I'll go off like.
I see a squirrel and I'm, just gone. So, anyways, back on topic, right? Yeah. So at this point, like I said, he had upped it. He had graduated to that level in the street pharmacy game, and it was, we were skipping school on this day. We were going, I stopped at my house first. I needed to grab, a Dutch or a Philly, whatever I was rolling at that time. And I, went to his house, rolled up there, and we were going to meet somebody because he had a play to make. And we didn't even get to we didn't even walk the full block away from his house. We were literally right at the end of the block. Now, where the sidewalk is, I am closest to the street. He is on the inside, okay? Again, right, I'm 12 years old walking around just smoking a blunt like it's nothing. Like, nobody says anything to the fact this 12-year-old kid's smoking in general. And he smoked, like, it's just crazy to me. Anyways, he had issues with an older guy that was in the territory, because he was up and coming. My best friend, he was up and coming, and he was stepping on his toes, taking some of his customers. Anyways, there's a car coming by, and obviously we're on the street, so cars were driving by. We weren't thinking anything of it. Next thing I know, as soon as the car gets to gets probably just behind me, I can hear it kind of slow down a little bit. And then as soon as it got past us a little bit to see backwards, I just hear, and my face is looking at him. We're talking, and I just hear boom, 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 3 shots let out. And my immediate reaction was and I checked myself, I'm fine. Then I look over and I see him covered in blood. 3 shots. He got 3 shots to the chest. 3 shots to the chest. And at that point in time, of course, people heard this. People hear me screaming, he shot. Please call an ambulance. Please call an ambulance. And I'm holding him in my arms while he's coughing up blood. And at this very moment, right, I'm like the ambulance, whenever when the ambulance finally gets there, they're trying to resuscitate him, and they're telling me that he's all right, when I know for a fact that while I was holding him, I asked him, like, brother, please hang on, please hang on, please hang on. Mind you, I'm 12 years old, so I really don't know what to say. I'm just telling him to, like, stay strong, don't close your eyes, like everything that I had seen in movies. And I'm like, don't fall asleep, don't close your eyes, stay with me, da, da, da. And I literally watched him, like, take his last breath. And that was, even though I told him that in the ambulance, they were like, no, he's going to be good. He's going to be good. So anyway, they claim that he passed away when he was in the hospital, but I truly felt that I witnessed it, watch him take his last breath. So, I've been through, I didn't mean to get all like, it's very serious, but it's part of my story. It's part of why I'm so serious about, the Deen, why it means so much to me. And each time I talk about this, sometimes it's just, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not good with like death or grief. I handle it like my emotions are weird with it. I feel like a lot of us really don't know how to handle it. It's not easy, especially when you're 12 years old, Mm-hmm. So I appreciate that, Speed. I appreciate that, brother. Anyways, rest his soul. It's sad to me because he was led in the wrong direction. He came from a family of what he was doing, right? So it's like when you're put in that situation, it's all you know. But anyways, at that point, right? I didn't just tell that story to talk about how much it has strengthened my Deen, right? But I mentioned the story because of the fact that, right, this was one of the times that I just escaped death. Okay, I had three times in my life. Like, I'm not a cat. I don't get 9 lives, right? Like, the fact that there's this thing, okay, when soldiers go to war and they witness their comrades die on the battlefield that they went through training with, they did all this stuff with, right? It's called I think it's soldier's guilt. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the term
is I've heard about that.
Okay, yeah, it's no, not PTSD, Raul. I know what that is. I definitely have that. I've been diagnosed with that since that time. So, anyways, this it's a yes, soldier's guilt. I believe that's what it's called. And basically, what it is I had blame. I started like saying why me. I started feeling guilty, like. How come it was him? It should have been me. I was on the outside. How did not one bullet touch me? Like, was the kid a sharpshooter? He's driving in a moving car. And I'm blamed. Like, I dealt with it for a while, for so long. And I couldn't understand why I was the one who was, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to save. And for, of course, you would think that would have been the thing that was like, okay, kid, time to wake up. You nearly just died. No, I went even deeper into it at that point. So I'm going to we can jump way forward now to the revert part, or the last 4 years of it. Because in between there, it's just, like I said, in the middle there, it is just me falling victim to the dunya even further. Survivor's remorse. Jazakallahu khairan, brother. Thank you. And it throughout those years from age 12 to 27, I literally just fell victim to the dunya, worse and worse and worse as the years progressed. Partying all the time. popping prescription painkillers just because it was, the thing to do when you go out to the clubs and stuff. And you really don't know. And plus, I had actually, I had hurt myself. I fell off a roof, and I was prescribed them. So I'm just thinking it's okay, right? They never tell you this. They're just all they care about is the paycheck that they're getting from every single person that they prescribe the medicine. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, it's made me stronger, as I said, and why I will never, go back to that. I have complete faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, He's the greatest of all planners, just as it says in the Quran. And I, on a daily basis, so people outside of Islam don't understand when we say the term, I live day by day in fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a healthy fear, right? He is our creator, okay? I say this to people, especially like in the Western world, and they're like, why would you want to fear God? Like, don't you want to just live your life the way you want to live your life? I'm like, see, this is the programming that they've put into your head. You're doing what they want you to do, okay? I'm actually living a happier life now, the happiest I've ever been, even on my bad days, right? And it's truly, like I said earlier, it's such a blessing. And Islam saved my life, as I said. Before we'll end it there, because not the live. We'll end that answer there, and then I know you have more questions. So
yeah. So so I know all this happened when you were 12, and then of course, other things happened in between. But what was like the defining factor? Like when you decided, okay, no, like Islam is it. Like I need to convert like today or whatever it was. What was that defining factor?
Okay, so there were really a lot of things, right? And the beautiful thing of Islam is that nobody forced me, right? I came to this realization on my own, and that was like the best part about it, right? And even everybody that like I've guided and given shahada to three different brothers, and even for all of them, they sought me out, right? Two of them came to me when I was pumping gas at the gas station on my way to one time it was on my way to Jummah, and the other time was on my way to Isha, and I was dressed in a full thobe and kufi and everything. So anyways, I know I went off there for a little bit, but anyways, like I said, in the beginning, 4.5 years ago, okay, I thought it was an epiphany that came over me, okay? But it was actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, getting me ready. Now, what I mean by this is 4.5 years ago, I stopped drinking, I stopped partying, stopped going to clubs, stopped smoking, stopped doing like the painkillers, stop all that stuff, right? Astaghfirullah, for all that garbage. Everybody stay away from that. There's nothing good to come from it. It's all just misery. It's temporary 5-10 minute. I don't even want to say pleasure. I don't even know, but it's 5 to 10 minutes, whatever. It's temporary. And then you will be in misery for the rest of your life. And then you end up in the bottomless pit. You'll end up in hellfire. Like, that's not what you want. So, like I said, 4.5 years ago, that happened, right? I thought that I had an epiphany that just came out of nowhere when once I reverted to Islam, I talked to the Sheikh about this. He said, no. This was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala getting you ready, right? Preparing you slowly throughout the next 4 years until it came to the point, right, that I reverted to, I was ready. Yeah, and Raul's correct there too. I that's why I was gonna go into that, but if I start to tell that, that's a whole nother story as well. So I'll just say the hospital part. I already explained to you guys that I was I was helping my buddy out. I was doing like a part-time legal gig for his company. For his roofing company. I fell off the roof from 17 feet in the air. the doctor prescribed me painkillers. He was prescribing it to me for 10 months. And then he basically said to me, kid, I don't know why I had you on this long. Yeah, you do, bro. You were getting paid, right? I mean, but they're not allowed to prescribe you opioids for more than 2 months. After 2 months, they have to send you to a pain clinic where you have to go and get it there. Okay, it's very seriously federally regulated. So at that point, I'm like, all right, well, if I stop now, I'm going to be in straight, like, if you stop opioids, which, you know, they had me on the strongest one, Percocet, right? If you stop that, especially after 10 months being on it every single day, it only takes 3 days. If you take an opioid 3 days in a row and you stop, you will experience dope sickness. It's dead serious, right? So I said, okay, I'm not going through this, right? I had tried on my own throughout that 10 months. I said, bro, I'm not doing this anymore. Each time, right, they say that once you get to the 72-hour mark, you're good. You're in the clear and everything starts to get better. Each time I would get to 70, 71 hours. And then I couldn't take it anymore. The anxiety and everything was so bad. I would, you know, it killed me. I would go to the pill bottle. So anyways, like I said, I was a hustler and I knew kids who hustled. I knew kids who sold those. So that's what I did for, you know, I went about my day-to-day life. I did everything the same, but I was, instead of getting them from the doctor, I was buying them from a friend. And it got, you know, I was hustling the, you know, Sydney Lauper. I was, you know, a white girl, and I never touched the stuff because somebody like me with ADHD, it does nothing for me unless I do a lot of it. Because when I do uppers, it brings me down. When I do downers, it brings me up. Yes, hit that smash button. Smash that like button. So it was very rough for me. You know, that, and I was even more mad at myself that I allowed myself to get to that point, because I've always been the type of person that I don't like to, you know, I like to be in control. And when you're on substances and stuff like that, you're really not in control. Mm-hmm. I guess you could say that, you know, the shaitan had basically taken over my life. Pretty much that's where it had gotten. So 100% actually, you know. So anyways, I'm just going to jump straight forward because it'll take a long time if I go through that whole process. You know, it went way up. You know, your body gets used to it. So then you have to just increase and increase and increase and increase. And after 5 years of me doing that, right, my body was so used to it that, you know, I'm doing that. And at this point, like, nobody even knew that I had continued once the doctor had taken me off. Everybody thought I was off of them, right? And the reason why, how I maintain that, because normally when people do those, you sleep. You start like nodding and stuff. So I would do the white, okay? So now I'm mixing the two for those last 3 years, 4 years of it, whatever. I end up overdosing and in the hospital. I was at my father's house. We were watching the Red Sox or Celtics or the Patriots or the Bruins. I don't know. We would get together once a month at his house and we'd watch, you know, the sports, and we drink Johnny Walker together. So I'm having a Johnny Walker with him, and I finished my first one. He doesn't know that every 15 minutes I'm going, you know, popping one or whatever. And I go for my second one as soon as I'm like in the kitchen and I'm about to pour my second one, or I was finished pouring it or something. My dad said he had just entered the kitchen. As soon as he stepped foot in the kitchen, he saw my eyes roll back in my head, and I just went down. And, you know, it's a scary sight. I've witnessed people fall out like that, and it's not a pleasant sight. And I you know, the fact that I had to put my father through that is still to this day kind of crushes me. But anyways, he called the ambulance. You know, the ambulance said they couldn't be there for 15 minutes. My dad's like, yeah, the kid doesn't have 15 minutes. He's going to die, whatever. Luckily, my dad's girlfriend, okay, she, I mean, this is sad, but her daughter, okay, she was a very serious opiate addict. She had actually passed away from it. And because of that, the times that she used to come to the house, my dad's girlfriend had Narcan in the house. Now, to those that don't know what Narcan is, it is a type of drug to prevent opioid overdose. Okay, there's like a nasal one that you just and it goes straight in, right, and there, it clears out and it counteracts the opioid. It just flushes it out. So then she had two of them there. The lady that my dad was talking to said to give him one, administer one now. She talked him through how to do it. And then on the way to the hospital, give him a second one on the way there, right? So boom, he does this, and I'm still not up, but he's just checking my heartbeat. I'm good. 6 hours went by. Okay, I was in the hospital for 6 hours before I came to, right? I mean, I guess I should have shared this because this is very important part of my story. But I feel bad because my story is so for me to really explain it to people, it's very detailed, and
it's years of life experiences.
Exactly, and I try to keep it. I don't know the way that I deliver it too, because like I said, it's long, and we want to keep people watching. So I try to the way that I deliver it in my tone of voice is what I'm saying. Anyways, I hope everybody's understanding this, and I hope that anybody in here, especially you young guys and young girls, the dunya is not worth it. Going out, going clubbing, going this, doing all this, it's awful. It ruins lives on a daily basis, and you'll if you sadly, God forbid, if you fall into that, I hope none of you ever do. You realize it you don't realize it until it's too late at that point, right? So anyways, 6 hours go by. Now, what I didn't know when I first entered the hospital, they took there's a rapid blood test that they can do to check the amount of, substances that are in your system, the percentages of the levels and stuff. So that's what they did. Again, I'm unconscious throughout this whole thing. So 6 hours. Now, when I finally come to, they hit me with I don't know, dozens of Narcans. I forget the exact amount that they did. Normally, 1 or 2 is all you need. And they hit me with a good amount. So first thing I see when I open my eyes, and this crushed me. I never I was going to say that I'm just glad my mom wasn't there, but regardless, I wish that, I don't want to say I wish it never happened because it made me who I am today, but it kills me that I had to put my family through that, especially my dad who saw it, who witnessed it. And he stayed with me in the hospital the entire time. Now, when I came to, he's standing over me, hysterically crying. Okay. Now, my father raised me to be, a man's man who doesn't show emotion, who doesn't cry, doesn't this. The only other time that I ever saw my father cry, the only time that I ever saw my father cry was when, don't mind him, he's just a jokester. I know you saw that, what the hell's wrong with this kid? Yeah, Raul he's a ball buster.
Listen, I know. I know.
Okay, good. I hope he supports you. I tell everybody, come every channel that I'm on, I tell everybody, go, please support this channel, please subscribe. Yeah, make sure you all subscribe. Anybody that's new to Sister Rosie's channel, please check her out. Please subscribe to her channel. She's amazing, insightful, has very amazing has a very amazing message, and is very insightful and knowledgeable, especially for a Muslim revert. And you reverted not that long ago either, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be 4 months on the 18th.
That's what I thought. I was gonna say 3, but it's 4. Yeah, mashallah, that's amazing, sister.
Thank you.
Actually,
I'll ask you this. What is your favorite part about Islam? Because I got asked this question, and I realized that nobody had asked me that before, and I thought it was such a great question. So I wanted to ask, what is your favorite part about Islam? If you had to pick one thing that's your favorite part about Islam, what is it? It's right. You haven't thought there's a lot, but if you had to pick one,
the hard thing for me is that everything is like my favorite. And I literally, when I wake up every morning, I look forward to, staying in remember. The first thing I do when I open my eyes is thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I ask him for forgiveness. I ask him for everything, for my shortcomings and all this, right? And I look forward, still to this day, I look forward to praying Salah, to going to the masjid to pray Salah. But this is an amazing question. I'm still thinking, if I have to pick one, what would it be? So at the moment, I'm stuck between three.
All right. What are the three?
Okay. Now, the three, for me, all right, in no order, in no particular order here, is, Brother Brandon, and I thank him, I've thanked him multiple times. Shout out to the Muslim Cowboy. For those who aren't subscribed to him, please go subscribe to his channel. But when I had read a little bit about the seerah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but when Brother Brandon had helped, I asked him, what else can I do to strengthen my deen? I told him that I pray Salatul Ishraq, all these other things that I do, aside from the obligatory things, like all the sunnah stuff that I add to my life. And Brother Brandon has truly helped me out with so many of these things. And one, like I said, the biggest one of them was the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I say this because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is the greatest. Like I always search for a male role model, as you heard me talking when I was a kid, right? From my dad, then my dad was out of the house, then my grandfather, he passed away. Then I turned to the streets, and I had no role model. Once I found him, and once I found Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and found Islam and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it completed me. It finally solved that puzzle. The half of the puzzle that was missing my entire life, it was finally completed. So I would say the seerah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, him and his life and his actions, he is truly such a remarkable such a remarkable man, an honorable man, pious man, respectable man, so much integrity, everything about him, right? It's amazing. And I tell myself all the time, and I think I mentioned this to you before, the acronym from Christianity, WWJD, what would Jesus do? Right? I changed that to WWMD, what would Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam do? Right? And I ask myself this on a daily basis when it comes to really anything that I'm doing throughout my day, especially things that I may be troubled with, about how should I react in this situation? Like, okay, should I flip out on this person? Nah, that's not what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam do. He would speak calmly to him and loving to him and empathetic and understanding. So it has truly helped me develop into a better person. And the other two would have to be the ummah, okay? Just the amazing family and the brotherhood and the fellowship of Islam, all of us, it's like one huge family. And it's truly amazing. Like there's so much love between brothers and sisters and all of you that I met through online that I've never even met before. And I feel so close to every single one of you. Like, it's truly amazing, mashallah. And then the last one to me would be praying Salah. Okay, just not like every part about it, every part of praying Salah, and I'm talking the obligatory the five obligatory fard Salah, the sunnah prayers, everything, tahajjud, Salatul Ishraq. For me, it literally just like I feel it in my heart. I feel the love in my heart when I get down and I prostrate, when I am standing and I'm reciting the Quran out loud or in my head. I can feel the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, somebody earlier had actually told me there's a word for this. There's an Arabic word or an Islamic word for this, the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I can't remember the name of it. Maybe somebody in the chat can help me out. But that's like that. That's what I feel in that moment, and to be in praise and. I thought he was saying Zina to me. I'm like, no, that's definitely not what I'm Yeah, that's my favorite thing about Islam. Zina is my favorite. Astaghfirullah. A'udhu billah min ash-shaytanir rajim. So, and truly, just like the whole act of being like getting down in sujood, praising and worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is so beautiful, right? It's just, what would yours be?
Mine is definitely the Quran, because I feel like the Quran is one of the ways that Allah opens the hearts
Absolutely.
of people that, you know, just have been like blocked, I guess, their whole lives.
Absolutely.
So I would definitely say the Quran. Like, when the person asked me this, I had to like really think about it, because there's so many things in Islam, you know, that are just amazing. But I would have to say that probably the Quran is probably my favorite. You hear my dog probably.
He's like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
He's like, no, because I actually have to go to work soon. Because I got a new job.
How much time you have? Oh, mashallah! Congratulations.
Yes,
I'm so happy for you. That's amazing. I'm so happy for you. What are you doing now, if you don't mind me asking, or you don't want to say?
No. So I'm actually working. It's perfect. I feel like it's the perfect job. I'm actually working in a hotel, like in the as a receptionist. But it's perfect because if people aren't coming in, I'm able to like edit videos. I'm able to like do all the things that I need to do for YouTube.
So I can start sending you my videos to edit from now on. That's perfect.
Like everybody
just send everything to Rosie from now on. Everybody, we're good. That's awesome. I'm so happy. That made my day. I'm glad that worked out. See, when you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something, he you know, of course you're so like in the very moment, it's like you're anxious, you're like, but you had faith. You had faith, you know, we made dua, and alhamdulillah, I'm so happy that worked out for you.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody who was also praying for me. I really appreciate it. And everybody who was just so helpful.
Mashallah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I wanted to I just wanted to add this to the end of that story, because this is like a huge part of it. So when I came back to, when I came back to from, you know, being out in the hospital bed in the gurney, in that very moment, I was, you know how people say that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Like some people say that they crossed over to the other side and stuff like this. I never believed it. I always thought it was a joke, or people were just full of it. And no, I'm not saying I crossed over to the other side. Like I don't know what happened, but it was like a millisecond before I opened my eyes. This was like, it happened so fast. I just remember hearing what was being said to me. Oh man, I really haven't talked about this in such a long time. But I remember what I said. I remember saying, I'm not ready to go yet. I'm not ready to go yet. I'm not ready to go yet. And then boom, I said it like 3 times. And then like just so fast, I shot out like a bullet through like the end of the rifle. And my eyes came up and I looked to my right. First thing I see is my dad crying. Then the doctor standing there with his clipboard saying, kid, I hope you understand. And he's shaking his head like, you know, all of the doctors and we all got together and we have no idea, right, how you are how you made it. Because they said that in the middle of those like 6 hours, there was a point where they thought they were losing me, right? And at that point, I literally went, you know, I was unresponsive for 50 seconds, like no oxygen, no nothing. And something brought me back. And I don't know if it was in that very moment that's what happened, but the doctor said to me, kid, I don't know if you're religious. I don't know what you believe in, but someone or some power, right, is not, you're not done yet. Like you have something greater than yourself that needs to be done. And I have truly, since I was a little kid, right, since as far back as I can remember, I have always felt like there was something greater than me that I was put here to do, right? Not for myself either, not for myself. Just like enough that I'm okay, my family's good, everybody's taken care of, but that I'm doing something greater for everyone, right? And this is, reverting to Islam and being able to carry out dawah and do what you and all of us do, and Muslim Cowboy, Bobby's perspective. And I do want to say, because you asked me what was like one of the biggest points that made you make the decision. All right. And if I can, I don't know if you have time for it, but I wanted to say, like, I'm sure you want me to, I'm sure they want to hear it too, is the story, not the whole story, but the moment that I was in the masjid and when I recited the Shahada, reverted, how I felt and stuff. I'm sure that was some of your questions.
I mean, we were gonna ask that in there, but
no, go. Well, you can ask me anyway. I'll say this part first. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, we have like a good 10 minutes, just to give you a heads up, because I do have to I do have to leave for work.
Yeah, I don't want you to be late.
But no, you can go ahead and talk about how you felt when you took your shahada.
Okay, mashallah. So first off, I just want to state, right, out of everything, all right, so those last 4.5 years, when I stopped drinking, I stopped doing everything, okay, I went on a spiritual journey, and I started to get closer to God. Now, this was not the God of my Catholic upbringing, even though the God that I believed in when I was Catholic was the God that I was basically, even when I was Catholic, I was basically Muslim. I just hadn't said the Shahada. The only thing that I didn't know, all right, because I had never heard it, was that Isa alayhi salam, Jesus, peace be upon him, was not crucified, right? That was the only thing I didn't know. I believed in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I believed in all the prophets, but like I said, that was the one thing I did not know. Anyways, yes. So throughout this time, throughout this 4 years, I started to build my relationship, growing stronger, building a stronger relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which I called God at that time. And then, Raul, cut it, bro. Don't do that. You're going to mess with me doing that. Don't do that. Bro, he's such a ball buster. I love you, bro. But anyways, so at that point, it went from, okay, the first year I was just getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then it got to the point, like, and I prayed through that time too, but I didn't pray the prayers of Christianity or the Bible or anything like that. The prayers I prayed was just like me thanking God, me talking to God. It was kind of like prayers that I was basically making on my own. And then in the second year, I said, okay, I want to know what's good. And I started looking into every religion. Like, I looked through all the isms, Taoism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism, Islamism, every ism, and as far as I was concerned, all sects of Christianity were out the window. I had already kiboshed that from back when I was 12. They were, and everything that I had looked into was all pagan beliefs. And I'm sorry, but I can't believe in a religion that has millions of gods. I believe in one God, one true creator, and it's clear. It's clear as day, okay? Anyways, for me, when I finally, like, those last 2 years, and of course, the last religion that I looked into was Islam, right? And once I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, all these values of Islam, these are exactly how I've lived my life. This is exactly what I've always thought like. This is what I've gone by. And now I'm following this. I'm not doing haram. At that point in time, the things that I had to stop doing was smoking cigars and a cigarette here and there, and stop listening to music. When I was in my research phase in those last 2 years in Islam, there were so many different, books that I was reading. There were so many different YouTubers and, Dawah channels that I listened to that truly helped me. And 2 of them were bigger than any of them, right? There was a good 5 of them, but 2 of them were bigger than any of them to me, right? And the 5 of them really were, Brandon was actually one of them. Muslim Cowboy, shout out to him. Yusha Evans, he's a scholar. He's a young kid. He's like our age, from South Carolina. Amazing. He was a youth minister, and now I don't know if he's a sheikh, but I know he's a scholar. He's so knowledgeable. He got arrested, all sorts of stuff. His story is awesome. If you haven't heard it, I'll send it to you. I know I'm trying to make this fast now. The other 2 of them was Hamza's Den from England, the redheaded guy. He's amazing. So much knowledge. I would watch his videos, and it would motivate me. I'm like, damn, I need to get to People's Corner in England. I want to be there. That's the spot, right? So then the person who really made it clear to me, right, who just the way he spoke, the way he carried the message, was Sheikh Yusuf Estes. He literally, I know we don't believe in giving one person credit. We believe everything was from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he doesn't even know this. He saved my life. He truly, truly did. And of course it was everything was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's doing, but he helped me so much. And so that was my big reason. Then I'm jumping into the Shahada right now. Then, those last 2 weeks, I had gotten to this point where I'm like, okay, I need to get to the masjid right now. I just want to learn. I want to know more about Islam. And the best way I can do that from people I spoke to online was to go to the masjid, speak to brothers, speak to scholars, and especially speak to the sheikh. So that's what I set out to do. 2 days before I reverted, I looked online for the masjids close to my house. I found one that was 8 minutes and one that was 3 minutes. For some reason, I picked the one that was 8 minutes away. It just spoke to me. And I ended up, I didn't call it that night, but I called it the next night. And it was 8 o'clock or something. And it was 8:39. I wanted to go then. And when I wanted to go then, I didn't see the tattoo of Brother Mikhail hand. I don't have a tattoo on my hand.
I might have been there.
I have it on my arm.
Yeah,
okay. And then, yes. So I call him at 8:45. Isha was at 7 o'clock at that time. And I said to him, I want to come now. I wanted to go right then and there, because I'm thinking this is the Catholic Church or whatever, and they're open 24/7 and the priest will be there. Yes, they're open 24/7, but of course the imam, the sheikh, he goes home. He needs to sleep like everybody else. So he says, you know what? Can you be here tomorrow 5 minutes before Isha? I said, I will definitely be there. And I showed up. I wanted to show to him and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I meant business. So rather than showing 5 minutes before, I showed up 50 minutes to almost an hour beforehand. And wouldn't you know, this brother was literally outside with his arms folded in front of the door, even though he told me 5 minutes before he was out there already when I pulled in. And when I got out of the car, he just screamed, Brother Michael, I hadn't changed my name yet, of course. And just such the biggest welcome, the biggest warmest embrace. I had never I never got that in Christianity or Catholicism. There was so much judgment. And I don't know if you felt the same thing, but, even I was a Catholic, being around other Catholics, and they were giving me judgment. Now I am not Muslim, walking in, to a masjid with other Muslims, and they're showing me so much love, more love than I've ever felt before. So I will say, as soon as I walked into the masjid, I felt this chills from head to toe, and it was the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will continue to say this. And then, the sheikh is sitting by the member. I go over to see him. He says, we sit down for whatever that whole time. I asked one question. He talked for the entire time. I listened. And then he says, okay, it's time to pray. I need to pray my sunnah. Please go. And he said, you can sit back here. We're going to pray. If you have questions after prayer, we'll talk. And da, 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 da. So I said, well, am I allowed to pray with you? Right now, first off, before I went that night, I told myself, I'm going for knowledge. I made a promise to myself. Obviously, I didn't stick to it. That I promised that I wasn't going to recite the Shahada for at least another 9 months to a year. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had other plans for me. And I said to him, am I allowed to pray with you? And he said, well, do you know what that would mean? And I said, I didn't say anything. I just looked at him with a big smirk on my face, smile, half smirk. And he's kind of smirking back at me. He's like, are you sure? Do you know what that would mean? He said, that would mean that you are ready to become Muslim. You're ready to revert to Islam. And I said, as soon as he finished that last syllable, I said, Sheikh, I feel like this is why I'm here tonight. I am ready. And alhamdulillah, in the moment that I recited the Shahada and that very last syllable when I spoke it, in that moment, as I said before, I had felt like I was, since the moment my parents divorced, I felt like half of me was missing. I didn't feel like everyone else. Half of me was gone. And I looked for that other half in everything but what I was supposed to find it in. I looked for it in partying, in women, alcohol, all things that did not matter. And as soon as I recited the Shahada and spoke that last word, I was finally complete for the first time in my life.
Alhamdulillah.
Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillah. So, sister, thank you for. I tried to cram that in as best I could.
No, it's no problem. We're good on time. We're
I was
right on
just
the
saying,
dot.
please tell me that you're not going to be late. I'd feel terrible.
No, we're right on the dot, so we're good.
Okay.
But yes, thank you so much, Brother Mikhail, for joining me on here, and thank you everybody at home or at work, wherever you are, for tuning in and watching. I truly appreciate it, and we will see you guys in our next live. Did you have any final, you got 1 minute for any final words?
Absolutely. Sisters, thank you so much again. It was such an honor to come on here. And I look forward to our future collaborations together. You'll get back on my channel again in the future, inshallah. And I hope to come back on here again as well. It was a pleasure and an honor. And I just want to say to every one of you, Jazakallahu khairan. Thank you so much for all the love and support that you gave us today. And please, if you are not already subscribed to Sister Rosie's channel, please subscribe to her channel. And if you are not subscribed to me, it's your first time seeing me, please subscribe to my channel as well. And I have some projects that you guys can check out as well. And I believe Sister does too. So
yes,
to all of you out there that are just reverting, this is the last thing I'm going to say. If I had one piece of advice that I would give you, the best thing that you could do is to get involved in the masjid, stay around and, put yourself around your fellow Muslims. It's the best thing. It helped me immensely. So again, thank you to everybody. And sister, thank you so much. Jazakallahu khairan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you with many blessings in Jannatul Firdaus. Ameen. And all of you as well, inshallah.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And same to you. May Allah keep blessing you, and may He bring blessings on all of your projects, future projects. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will have more lives, inshallah. And yeah, we will see you guys in our next live, and we will see you guys the next video, next live. And may Allah always be in your corner, guys.
Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam, everybody.